When communication isn't the problem and what might be disguising it. Have you ever worked really hard to say something calmly, clearly, respectfully, and your partner still reacted defensively? If you've ever walked away thinking, I said that perfectly, why did that blow up? This conversation is for you. Hello, and welcome back to Beyond Communication. I'm Olivia, LMFT, and in this series, we're looking at something that doesn't get talked about enough. Sometimes communication isn't the root problem. It's just the most visible symptom. Now, let me be clear, communication skills matter. I statements, reflective listening, tone awareness, those tools are helpful. But here's where nuance comes in. When couples tell me we're communicating better, but it still feels bad, that's usually a signal. So today, let's slow this down and ask a different question. If it's not just communication, what might actually be underneath it? Number one on my list for culprits that disguise as communication is emotional regulation difficulties. Let's start with something foundational: nervous system activation. Research in affective neuroscience by Gottman and Levinson shows that when someone becomes emotionally flooded, heart rate elevated, stress hormones rising, their capacity for receptive listening drops dramatically. So imagine this: one partner says something reasonable, calm tone, clear words, but the other person's body has already registered threat. In that moment, it doesn't matter how skillful the wording is. The nervous system is louder than the language. This isn't a communication deficit, it's a regulation issue. Now let's go one layer deeper, because sometimes it's not just physiological overwhelm, it's attachment activation. Number two on my list is attachment activation, or better known as attachment style attachment research by Mikulincer and Shaver, 2007, shows that when people perceive rejection or abandonment, even subtly, their attachment system activates automatically. That activation can look like clinging withdrawal, escalation defensiveness. To the outside observer, it looks like bad communication, but internally, it's protection. If one partner leans anxious and seeks reassurance while the other leans avoidant and pulls away under stress, the issue isn't phrasing. It's two protective systems colliding. No sentence restructuring fixes attachment panic. What helps is building safety, slowly and consistently. Now let's talk about something more subtle and incredibly powerful: the emotional filter that develops over time. Number three, negative sentiment override. John Gottman describes something called negative sentiment override. This happens when accumulated resentment shifts the emotional lens in the relationship. Once this state develops, neutral behaviors get interpreted negatively. A neutral tone sounds sarcastic. A question sounds critical. A delayed text feels intentional. At that point, even healthy communication is filtered through suspicion. That's not a vocabulary issue, that's an emotional lens issue. And lens shifts require rebuilding trust and positive interactions over time, not just better word choice. Now we need to acknowledge something important. Sometimes what's happening in the present isn't just about the present. Number four, unresolved individual trauma research. Von der Kolk, 2014, consistently shows that unresolved trauma affects emotional reactivity and perception. A raised voice may feel like danger, silence may feel like abandonment, conflict may feel like instability. When trauma is activated, the brain responds as if the past is happening again. So the couple may be arguing about dishes, but the nervous system is reacting to something much older. In those cases, communication strategies are necessary, but insufficient. Individual processing may need to occur alongside couples' work. And finally, we need to talk about something less comfortable, but clinically important. Number five, power and equity imbalances. Sometimes the issue isn't misunderstanding, it's imbalance. Research on relational power dynamics suggests that when one partner consistently holds more emotional, financial, or decision-making authority, communication tools can become performative rather than transformative. You can communicate clearly within an unequal system. It doesn't make the system equal. If one person's needs consistently carry more weight, frustration isn't about phrasing, it's about equity. And until equity is addressed, conversations can continue to feel circular and unresolved. So, what does this mean? It doesn't mean communication doesn't matter. It means we need to ask, what is communication sitting on top of? Is it sitting on emotional dysregulation, attachment insecurity, accumulated resentment, trauma history, structural imbalance? If so, improving phrasing without stabilizing the foundation can feel like rearranging furniture in a house with a cracked foundation. That's why some couples say, we've done the tools, we've read the books, we're using the scripts, and we're still stuck because the root wasn't linguistic. It was emotional, neurological, relational, or systemic. Communication becomes effective when the system underneath it is stabilized, not before. So, in closing, if you've been blaming yourself for not communicating well enough, pause. It may not be about saying it better. It may be about understanding what's driving the reaction in the first place. In the next video, we'll start looking at how to assess which underlying driver might be active in your relationship and how therapy approaches differ depending on what's actually happening beneath the surface. Thank you for being here. This is Beyond Communication, and I'll see you in the next one.